celebrating our connection with our pets. This is Animal Radio. Here are your hosts, Hal Abrams and Judy Francis.
It's Animal Radio. I'm going to give you a little warning. I think you should tell your friends to turn on the radio now. I have the feeling that today is going to be one of those very memorable shows.
Uh-oh.
Do you feel that way?
Yes, I do. I feel it in the air. You can just cut it with a knife. Yes.
It's unpredictable.
It started before the show started, actually, here in the studio.
Dr. Debbie is here answering your vet medical questions. Dog trainer Alan Cable, dog father Joey Villani, and animal communicator Joy Turner. And today we're going to talk to this guy in New Zealand who's starting a whole buttload of problems across in the United States. I mean, he lives in New Zealand, but this guy in New Zealand wants to get rid of cats altogether in New Zealand. We'll find out if he's a nut job or if he has a case. That's all on the way right here on Animal Radio. I see Joey's going to tell us about anesthesia-free dentistry. Now,
done by groomers.
Yes.
I don't know about groomers doing that. That sounds kind of weird.
I wouldn't go to my groomer for a dentist.
I go to Home Depot. The guy who cuts the keys does excellent dentistry. And I also had my vasectomy there in the wood department, in the lumber department there.
Well, that's all on the way right here on Animal Radio. Stacy, what do you got going on?
Boy, I'll tell you, nobody trusts anybody anymore.
Nope.
And there was a picture of a monkey that was strapped in a padded seat that Iran put out.
Oh, I saw that.
Supposedly, they sent this monkey into space, but there's no real confirmation if they did. The poor little monkey. I mean, it was almost like a terrorist video that they, here's the monkey sitting in the seat. And you have, it didn't have a sign or anything. I'm fine, Mom. Said bananas. I mean, there was nothing like that, but I felt bad for it. I don't know. I don't know if it really happened. I'll tell you more about it, though, coming up on Animal Radio News.
The monkey said getting out of Iran was the best thing that ever happened to him.
Everything's looking up for him.
Let's go to line 4. We have Dave. Hey, Dave.
No, we have Dangerous Dan.
Dangerous Dan. Hey, Dan, how are you doing?
Good.
I see up here on the board that you have a problem with our jingle, one of our jingles, and I believe Guido's prepared the jingle. This is the jingle you have trouble with?
Animals are people too. Animal Radio.
That's a jingle that plays with our Brit Savage segment in every show and throughout the week on XM, and you have trouble with that. Is that correct?
Yeah, I do.
Tell us. What's up?
Well, it doesn't take Einstein to figure out that animals aren't people, but people are definitely very much animals.
Yeah.
Dave doesn't think we should bring animals down to the level of people.
It says up here you're a talker and that you have a lot to say, but you seem to be very quiet. What's going on?
I got a face for radio, but not a voice. Just take example. You had a story not too long ago about this creep over there in Florida that was having sex with, I think, burros.
That was a news story that we did, that Stacy did, yes.
Yes.
Yeah, you had another one, I believe, about men and women both in the modern age having sex with dogs, and
yuck.
It's kind of a archaic and traditional thing that men have sex with sheep and goats in the Mediterranean. There isn't any laws against that.
Oh, I think there are.
Yeah, bestiality laws.
But whether it's unlawful or not, it's absolutely sinful. And most of our laws originate in some type of religious law. That's kind of the way it ought to be. People are spiritual. Doesn't matter what country, what age. People have always been spiritual. It's only recently that atheism, of course I don't believe there are any true atheists, seems to be a modern thing to be atheist, even though they want same-sex marriage, but then they look down on bigamy. That Warren Jeffs, he's in jail for pedophilia. And that's the problem with safe-sex stuff, too. People that are involved in that kind of thing usually become involved with it before they become of age. And that's what's criminal. But nonetheless, animals do have emotions. We share a lot of things with animals.
But they're not people, is what you're saying.
But they're not people. They don't have free will. They can't do the wrong thing knowing it's the wrong thing to start with. Does that make sense?
It makes complete sense. And really, I didn't think anyone would take that jingle so seriously.
It's just a jingle.
It's just a jingle.
Just a jingle.
See, we know animals aren't people, but you know what? We treat them like they're family. They sleep in the bed with us. They eat with us. They're all around. So I wouldn't take it too seriously there, buddy. But
so you got to change the jingle now to "Animals are family too."
Yeah, that's what would that be okay?
That's not a bad idea.
Yeah, would that work for you?
Well, see, here's the deal. I'm with you guys. The dog father thing, I'm totally online with that.
You hear that, Joey? Okay.
He's online.
I like this guy.
Yeah. My little schnauzer goes everywhere with me. I have 4 matched Morgans, and that's what I live for, is my horses. I'm very familiar with all the barnyard animals. I've had goats and chickens and rabbits. That story you had on the lady with the rabbit was great. Rabbits can make wonderful pets.
You said something brilliant before about animals not having the compulsion for evil, basically. Animals don't do evil. So, in essence, to me, especially dogs, I love them so much, they're almost superior to people because, they don't have the capacity for evil. They're not out there looking to get me. They're truth and pure love on 4 feet is what I call them, and I love that about animals. I think horses are like that, too. I mean, it's black and white. There is no good and evil with them. They're not out to get anybody. They're just... They just exist, and they give you joy, and you don't have to worry about trusting them.
Dangerous Dan, I thank you so much for your call today, and we're going to get the jingle changed this week for you, and we'll change it to family. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm totally online with that. I agree. It's just that I think that people need to understand what Alan is saying about we can think like they do, and each animal type is different. They have a completely different hardwiring, if you will. Dogs are incredibly challenging because people take them for granted. They think, oh, well, it's a dog, but they don't even understand themselves. The chimpanzee that was taught sign language is a perfect example.
Dan, I'm running out of time here, but I want to tell you thank you so much for calling in today and letting us know how you feel. Our lines are always open, and if there's anything, like next week, if there's something you want us to change, just give me a holler. We'll do it just right away. I appreciate it. Dangerous Dan calling us here on Animal Radio. Now, I don't know why he's called Dangerous Dan. Do you know by chance?
I was calling him Dave.
Oh, was it Dave?
No, it was Dave. Dangerous Dan. Hal called him Dave by mistake.
Okay.
It's funny. This week, this show, you guys are delving into a lot of serious issues that we're not prepared for. We're not ready for them.
Yeah. Lighten up. Hey, Ray, how are you doing?
Oh, just fine. How you guys doing?
Very good. Where are you calling from today?
Missouri.
Missouri. What's going on with your dog?
Well, I have a Commodore, and I believe she's mostly Commodore, but she's crossed between a Great Pyrenees.
Oh, wow. She's a big girl then, huh?
Oh, she's a wonderful dog, and yes, she is pretty big. She weighs about 125 pounds to 130.
Ooh.
Yeah.
And she's just what the deal is. She has a spot on her right hip on the outside that she likes to chew on, and it's not a real constant chewing or anything like that. It's just that she chews on it enough to where her fur is discolored there, and. We've looked at it, and it doesn't really seem to be, a sore. But, when we use Bag Balm, it goes away, and then if we stop using it, it comes back.
Okay. And that's the only place she's bothering, or does she lick anywhere else on her body, scratch?
No, not really. We do live in a tick area and a chigger area, and in the middle of the Ozarks. But other than that, no, she doesn't really have any other areas. We keep her pretty clean. And we use the front line on her.
Alrighty. Well, because definitely I would say that flea tick control is going to be just crucial. It's not, what the area you're describing isn't really typical for, say, a flea or tick infestation. And I'm actually a little curious about her hip. Now, has she had any kind of medical treatments recently, vaccinations, any kind of things where anything was done in that area?
No, ma'am.
Because just if there was anything that was given as a shot, anything like that, I do see some dogs that will kind of lick the area, and it becomes an area where they're irritated for some time. With this being over kind of the point of the hip, I'm gonna ask you to have her checked out by a vet in the hip area. Reason being, sometimes we will see dogs that will lick the surface of a limb or a body part if they're having arthritic pain, and it may not always be something where we're seeing in limping or trouble getting around, but it can be that persistent licking over that site. And sometimes it can even be kind of a tingling, kind of like the pins and needle type sensation that they can have at a body part. And that may be why they're attracted to that, or they kind of repeatedly go back to it. So that would be something I would want to make sure that, they do or don't feel is an issue. And then for some dogs, if we have an actual sore in the area and we can kind of clip the hair, look at it, and we see some thickening, any redness, any changes to the skin surface. In this situation, if we're trying other avenues, I'd like to do some sampling on that skin, whether that's something just doing a little surface scraping on there and then look under a microscope. That's a possibility. Your vet can do that. It's pretty quick, cheap, and easy. But the other thing we may just want to pair into this with complementing the topical that you're using, bag balm, we can even switch over to something like Vetricin that, is a very good topical for a lot of these kind of hot spots and lick sores. But I would add in maybe an oral antibiotic with this as well, and maybe an antihistamine. Use those kind of that three-pronged approach with an antibiotic, an anti-itch medicine, and a topical, and see what this looks like after a couple weeks of continued therapy. Because sometimes it's a matter we just got to get a little bit more aggressive about treating these skin wounds. And then I've had some dogs, I'll tell you honestly, they have been on long-term antibiotics because if the pet lies on that area, then you have some pressure injury too. And I can think of a baby that, a German Shepherd that we treated for 3 months with antibiotics and padded bedding and bandages and what have you, trying to keep that area from getting irritating to get it to heal up. So, you might have a little bit more of a haul ahead of you. I hope not. But I would certainly get that veterinary eyeball on things here.
You're listening to Animal Radio. Call the Dream Team now with the free Animal Radio app for iPhone and Android.
Hi, this is Tanya Tucker on Animal Radio. Love those pets.
Is diabetes keeping you from enjoying life's special moments? At US Med, we understand the challenges you face, and we're here to help.
With US Med, I can finally manage my diabetes without it managing me.
US Med offers a wide range of services to simplify your diabetes care. Personalized care plans, convenient access to cutting-edge diabetes tech, and knowledgeable support. Plus, we'll check your insurance so your diabetes care may be covered at little or no cost to you.
With US Med, I feel confident and control of my diabetes. I can finally live my life to the fullest.
Don't let diabetes hold you back. Choose US Med and experience better birthdays, better adventures, better anniversaries, and better everything. Call now. US Med. Better service, better care. 800-434-5019. 800-434-5019. 800-434-5019. That's 800-434-5019.
This portion of Animal Radio is underwritten by Fear-Free Happy Homes. Don't forget you can get your fix of Animal Radio anytime you want with the Animal Radio app for iPhone and Android. Download it now. It's made possible by Fear-Free Happy Homes, helping your pets live their happiest, healthiest, fullest lives at home, at the vet, and everywhere in between. Visit them at fearfreehappyhomes.com. And thanks, Fear-Free, for underwriting Animal Radio.
You're listening to Animal Radio. Call the Dream Team now with the free Animal Radio app for iPhone and Android.
It's Animal Radio. Celebrating our connection with our pets. Thanks for joining us. Just got a caller who said it was his first week. Wow.
He just found us. Yeah, he was just flipping through the channels.
That's exciting to hear.
Yeah.
I always love that. Dr. Debbie's here answering your vet medical questions. Dog trainer Alan Cable, dog father Joey Villani, and animal communicator Joy Turner. All here at your beck and call. Stacy Cohen working hard in the newsroom. What do you got going on?
Well, I have an uncomfortable question for you for a second. I just want you to think about this.
Oh, no.
Is your cat a serial killer?
Yes.
I know. You're probably saying to yourself, no, not my cat. He would never do anything like that. But you're wrong. And there's a guy in New Zealand who wants to get rid of your cat. I'll tell you all the details coming up on Animal Radio News.
And we'll be having this guy on the show in just a few minutes, too, to find out all the details about what he wants to do. Some people say he's crazy. Some people say he's right on. Hey, Bridget, how you doing?
Hi, good. How are you?
Good. What's going on?
Well, I got a 4-month-old puppy. I got him last weekend, so I've only had him a week. I'm a truck driver. And he's got a food issue. Every time I go to eat something, he demands some of it.
Oh, he's got an issue. He's got the issue. Hey, Bridget, let me ask you this. What do you do every time he demands some of it?
I turn my back on him, and he sits behind me and yells at me like he barks. And he gets mad.
He's not getting mad, okay? Hey, Bridget, let's talk about, firstly, do you eat in the truck?
Yeah, in my truck, yes.
All right. Why don't you just take your dog and lock him in the back of the truck while you eat so he can't even see you eating?
Oh, okay.
Yep. Just do that. And I'll tell you how to do it, Bridget. Just start eating. As soon as your dog starts acting like a lunatic wacko, turn your back on him, pay no attention to him, eat for about 5 minutes, calmly stop, pick your dog up, and put him in the back of the truck. So he makes the connection that while you're eating, he's going to be locked up if he acts like that. And do it over and over and over again, and then start introducing the word or a sound like shh, so that he understands that that's not the behavior you want. But don't talk to him. Don't talk to him. Don't look at him. Don't give him any attention at all. Just pick him up and remove him so that he starts to make the association when my mom is eating, I've got to behave myself and be quiet. And then introduce the corrective word, shh, and then teach him to go to a spot and lay there while you eat. And do this step by step. Step by step, Bridget, slowly over time. Because he's only 4 months old and they're very crazy. They got a lot of energy, a lot of, they don't have a large attention span. So it's going to take you some time, but just don't buy into it. He's not mad at you. He's just trying to get attention from you, and it's working. So the way to control that and combat that is to not give him any attention when he's doing whatever it is you don't want him to do.
Okay.
When he's doing what you do want him to do, you tell him he's a good dog.
Okay.
There you go, girl.
That's the only problem I have with him is when I'm trying to eat. Otherwise, he's great.
Just lock him up so he can't even see you, and do it just the way I said. And over about 2-3 month period, he's going to calm down and learn. Also, feed him after you're done eating, never while you're eating. And don't put the food down right away. Hold it and just stare off into space for a minute so he starts to understand you control the food. You're in charge.
Okay. I can do that. Great.
I love you, Bridget.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for your call. We appreciate it.
If you didn't start feeding your dog from your hand or table food to begin with, you probably wouldn't have that problem. It's funny because my mother-in-law just rescued a pit bull type mix, and great dog, great female, and the dog, everyone was around the table eating, and the dog didn't bother anyone. And after about 2 weeks, and my mother-in-law, she likes to eat, and she, feeds the dog a little bit. Now you can't even open up the refrigerator without the dog looking and wagging its tail and jumping on you. So, you know what?
Terrible.
Don't feed the dog to begin with.
Absolutely. I was going to tell you guys a story. We got time for a quick story. This is an insane story. It's funnier. It was 1988, Super Bowl Sunday. I was invited to an Italian guy's house in Chicago. I had an Airedale Shepherd, brought him over there, and I said, Cody, go downstay. And he's got the dog with the spots on it. What the heck are they called again?
Dalmatian.
He's got a Dalmatian and some sort of mix, and they're just lunatics. They're running around all over the place. And one of them, the Dalmatian, jumps on the table, grabs the ham, and runs off with it. And the wife is chasing the dog. And so I'm sitting there, and the guy comes up to me and goes, how the heck do you get your dog to sit there like that? How do you do that? And I go, well, what's your biggest problem? What would you like your dog to stop doing? Give me one thing. And we're sitting at the table, and he says, I'd like my dog to stop begging. And as he's saying this to me, he's feeding his dog unconsciously. He's just feeding his dog from the table, the one that stole the ham. And I said, buddy, you got to lock your... This is at a time where crates were thought to be cruel. I said, you got to get a crate. You got to lock them up, first of all, when you eat. He goes, I can't do that. That's so mean. And I go, no. What's mean is what you're doing now. Because don't you get mad sometimes when your dog begs? And he goes, oh, yeah, I get really mad. And I whap him on the nose with a newspaper, and it does no good. And I go, you mean to tell me that's not mean? Your dog doesn't even know why you're whapping him on the nose. Because you're feeding him sometimes, and sometimes you're not. He can't make the distinction. He doesn't understand what you're doing. That's why he's nuts.
Do you know what would have been a funnier story? if you would have said, in about 10 minutes later, they asked me if I wanted a piece of ham.
No, that dog took the ham. I don't know where it went, but they never found it. He ran outside. He went into the garage, through his doggy door, and the ham was never seen again. And I don't think he ate it. I think he buried it out there somewhere for later.
Thousands of authors across the country have written books and published them with Page Publishing. If you've written a book, they can help you through the process, cut through the confusion of the publishing world to make it easy for you. If they decide to publish your book, your work ends, theirs begins. From copy editing and proofing to typesetting and book cover art. Plus, get your book printed, distributed, and sold on Amazon, Apple Books, Barnes & Noble, and in bookstores across the country. They even help promote your book. Biography, self-help, mystery, novels, sci-fi, or even a children's book. No matter what genre, Page Publishing can bring your book to life. And don't forget to ask about audiobooks. We do all of this for you. Call today for your free writer's guide packed with tips, tricks, and templates to help you finish what you started.
800-215-6815. 800-215-6815. 800-215-6815. That's 800-215-6815.
Hello, this is Dr. Paul on Animal Radio. Take care of the pets and make sure that in these hot days that they get in lots of water, and don't tie them outside in the sun because then they get a heat stroke.
This is an Animal Radio News Update.
I'm Stacy Cohen for Animal Radio. Well, newspapers have a lot of use. We use them for a lot of things. I mean, when my kids were in school, we used to obviously wrap their books with them. You could wash windows with them. It doesn't streak. And the old standby, you can potty train your puppies with them. San Francisco puppies, though, are getting an assist from the public library in their quest to become potty trained. With more people reading newspapers digitally, public contributions of newspaper to line cages at animal care and control have actually gone down. It's become a problem. The San Francisco Chronicle says the public library, though, has intervened. They've stepped up, and they will now donate all of the 2,000 newspapers that they go through every month. Animal Care says the library's ongoing gift will take care of all their newspaper needs for their little, quote, poop machines. A longtime Las Vegas headliner now has a spider named after him. Jason Bond with Alabama's Auburn University has named a species of trapdoor spider for the illusionist Penn Jillette. The rust-colored spider is native to the desert near Nevada's nuclear testing facility. In real life, the vocal half of Penn and Teller told the Review Journal he's likely to, quote, scream like a little girl at the sight of a spider. Iran said they launched a live monkey into space. I don't know if you saw the pictures. This poor little monkey. I don't know. I feel bad for him. He was strapped in this little padded seat. His eyes were big as quarters. They were seeking to show off missile systems that have alarmed the West because the technology could potentially be used to deliver a nuclear warhead. The Defense Ministry announced the launch as world powers sought to agree a date and venue with Iran for resuming talks to resolve a standoff with the West. Efforts to nail down a meeting have failed repeatedly, and the powers fear Iran is exploiting the diplomatic vacuum to hone the means to produce nuclear weapons. The Defense Ministry said the space launch of the monkey coincided with the days of the Prophet Muhammad's birthday, but they didn't give the date of his birthday, according to a statement that was carried by the official news agency IRNA. The launch was another giant step in space technology and biological research, which is the monopoly of a few countries, the statement said. The small little gray monkey, as I said, was pictured strapped into a padded seat, and he was loaded into this rocket that was dubbed Pioneer, which state media said reached a height of more than 75 miles. The shipment returned safely to Earth with the anticipated speed along with the live organism, said their defense minister. He told the semi-official Fars news agency all about this. The launch of the rocket and its retrieval is the first step towards sending humans into space in the next phase. There was no independent confirmation of the launch. They just had the picture of the monkey. Hopefully, they didn't use him to, make any cosmetics or anything. Although some of those Russians could use a little rouge on there. I'm Stacy Cohen. Get more animal breaking news and all the cosmetic tips you need at animalradio.com.
This has been an Animal Radio News Update. Get more at animalradio.com.
You're listening to Animal Radio. Here's Hal and Judy.
Today we're going to talk to this guy who wants to eradicate all the pet cats from New Zealand. Been a big news story here in the United States, too.
Yes, it's hitting, making headlines.
Just keep them indoors. We don't have to get rid of any cats. Let's not be extreme here. Didn't the cats, didn't they get rid of plague at one point in time in history?
You would think.
I thought so.
Yeah.
They're such avid hunters, so they take care of rodent and bird populations. So,
well, that's the problem, is the bird population. That's what this guy's problem is.
Well, we'll talk to him in just a few minutes right here on Animal Radio. Also, Joey's going to tell us about this anesthesia-free dentistry that groomers are doing now. And it's a big no-no. You want to avoid that. That's all on the way right here on Animal Radio. Right now, we welcome to the show Dr. Justine Lee. She's the Associate Director of Veterinary Services at the Pet Poison Helpline. And she says there are common pet toxins lurking inside your home. You probably have every single one of them. Welcome to the show, Doc.
Thanks for having me on the show. You know, it's interesting. A lot of the toxins that we get called about are actually based on the kitchen foods that we eat. So you're obviously not going to get rid of your kitchen foods. You just have to make sure that you appropriately pet-proof your house. And most people aren't aware, our top 5 poisons that dogs get into, 3 of them are food. So grapes and raisins, sugar-free xylitol, and chocolate.
Okay, now I've heard differing things about chocolate, and I get calls about this all the time. Some people say that it's okay. Some docs say it's not okay. What is the lowdown on chocolate?
The true answer is it's the dose that makes the poison. So really everything's poisonous, oxygen, water, salt. It's how much you get into. And so most of the time when it comes to chocolate, if your dog eats, a couple of cookies with chocolate chip cookies in it, it's not going to be a big deal. But it's all size dependent. So how big your dog is, how small he is, if he has underlying heart problems. My little shortcut is the darker and the more bitter the chocolate, the more dangerous it is. So white chocolate is not a big deal.
If they get a flavor for chocolate, like if you start giving it to them because you think it's not that poisonous, or you've heard that it's not that poisonous, then they get a taste for it, and then they go for it every time they see it, and then they end up eating all of the Halloween chocolate. That's a problem.
That's what my dog has done, unfortunately.
Yeah. So you want to be careful, especially during the holidays. In fact, Pet Poison Helpline, we're basically an animal poison control based out of Minneapolis. We actually get a ton of phone calls during all the holidays, and we associate all the holidays with chocolate. So Valentine's Day, Christmas, there's chocolate under the Christmas tree, Halloween. So really important to make sure that you're keeping it out of reach of your pets.
So you said 3 of the top 5 are foods. What are the other 2?
I would say most people are surprised by this, but the other top 2 are human medications. One are human NSAIDs, what we call non-steroidal anti-inflammatories. So these are painkillers or anti-inflammatories. And, there's a dog form. There's also a human form. So we all know, never give your cat Tylenol, never give your dog an Advil or an Aleve tablet. Those are really, really poisonous. Ooh. But we all have it in our house. We all have it in our purse.
So these poisons, when you're saying, it's not like they're getting into it. It's like we're giving it to them.
It's actually both.
Okay.
So what we're seeing is actually when dogs aren't crate trained appropriately, and there's a big bottle of ibuprofen that you just bought from Costco, and they get into all 1,000 tablets of it all at once, and that's life threatening.
Oh, people also leave their pills on their nightstands next to their bed.
Absolutely.
And Dr. Lee, I have to say, as a veterinarian, my dog has had chocolate toxicity, and he's also gotten into a large bottle of phenylpropylamine. The one thing that I think you would probably agree is Labrador Retrievers. If you got them, you got to watch them like a hawk.
Absolutely. In fact, our top 2 breeds that call into Pet Poison Helpline, one are Labradors because they love to eat everything, and the other one are mixed breed dogs. And, it's probably based on popularity of the breed, but some dogs are just, chow hounds. They'll eat anything. They eat their own, poop. So we obviously want to pet-proof the house appropriately.
Dr. Davey, I was going to ask you what the most strange poisoning you've seen in your office, but I have a feeling I know what it is. You've had marijuana poisoning, pot poisoning, animals getting into their owner's stash. Is that correct?
Oh, sure. Yeah. And actually, I'm sure Dr. Lee will say it's even not that uncommon. It's very common, actually, in some areas. So
That's right. Depending on where you live, like especially in Colorado, once they allowed medicinal pot, unfortunately, we were seeing a lot of dogs that were poisoned by it. And the most dangerous form is actually, when people make pot butter or pot brownies, and then their dogs get into it, and now they have a double poisoning from the chocolate or from the oil of the butter, too.
Well, then they don't want to admit what happened, so they say, I don't know what happened to my dog. They don't really give you the background, so you can't really treat it immediately and appropriately because they're afraid to say.
Absolutely. And I always tell people, we're not the police, we're not the DEA. All we care about is treating your pet. So you really do want to be honest about owning up to it so we can treat your dog as soon as possible.
Okay, I want listeners to write down this phone number that you're going to give us.
Sure.
This is for the Pet Poison Helpline. If you suspect your animal's gotten into something and you need to find out where to go next, I suggest you give this number a call.
1-800-213-6680. And I always tell people, pre-program your cell phone with your vet's phone number, the local emergency clinic, and also an animal poison control right into your cell phone so you always have access. Most importantly, don't give any kind of, medications or milk or food, or don't try to induce vomiting without talking to your veterinarian first or talking to Pet Poison Helpline first, because sometimes it's more dangerous and it can make your animal, your pet, more sick. So when in doubt, just get the poison away from your pet, get them out of the room, and then consult with a veterinarian or an animal poison control just to see if it's appropriate to induce vomiting to begin with.
What is that product? I can't think of it.
Ipecac?
Ipecac.
Yes,
Ipecac.
Don't use that anymore.
Yeah.
In fact, even in human medicine, the use of syrup of Ipecac is no longer recommended. In fact, I've seen actually, unfortunately, a dog die from it when the pet owner was trying to be helpful and induce vomiting, and the dog ended up dying from it. So when in doubt, the only thing that we recommend for pet owners, if appropriate, is hydrogen peroxide. We don't even recommend salt anymore. And the key thing is, for cat owners listening, there's nothing you can give to induce vomiting at home for cats. There's nothing that's safe. So when in doubt, you just have to go into your veterinarian or give us a call for more information.
Okay. You got to give them a hairball. They'll vomit that real quick.
Exactly. That's the frustrating thing. They vomit all the time at home, but they don't vomit when we want them to vomit.
Okay. So there should be two numbers in your fast redial there. One should be your veterinarian, and then, of course, the Pet Poison Helpline at 1-800-213-6680, and we'll put that over at the website at animalradio.com. Dr. Justine Lee, thank you so much for joining us today.
No problem. Thanks for having me on the show.
We'll head back to the phones next.
You're listening to Animal Radio. Call the Dream Team now with the free Animal Radio app for iPhone and Android.
Is diabetes keeping you from enjoying life's special moments? At US Med, we understand the challenges you face, and we're here to help.
With US Med, I can finally manage my diabetes without it managing me.
US Med offers a wide range of services to simplify your diabetes care. Personalized care plans, convenient access to cutting-edge diabetes tech, and knowledgeable support. Plus, we'll check your insurance so your diabetes care may be covered at little or no cost to you.
With US Med, I feel confident and control of my diabetes. I can finally live my life to the fullest.
Don't let diabetes hold you back. Choose US Med and experience better birthdays, better adventures, better anniversaries, and better everything. Call now. US Med. Better service, better care. 800-434-5019. 800-434-5019. 800-434-5019. That's 800-434-5019.
This is
Animal Radio, baby.
You can call now to speak to animal communicator Joy Turner. We have John on the phone. Hey, John, how are you doing?
I'm well, thank you. Good morning. Thanks for the call.
How can Joy help you?
I was curious about my dog, Thule. She's been jumping on the bed and for her lately. So I have a sheet that I put over the bed. There's holes in that now. So now I've resorted to closing the bedroom doors. I've also put my on the bed so she has a scent. So digging for it. So
you know what? Your phone's cutting out, John. Are you on a cell phone?
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah. Can you try one more time?
Yeah. My dog, Thule, is scratching the bed. I'm sorry. So she jumps up when I go to work and sleeps up, but she's been scratching the comforter. And I put the sheet up there, and she scratched a hole in the sheet as well.
Okay, so what you'd like to know from her is why is she scratching anything other than the sheet or the bed, or is it just the sheet and the bed?
It's the sheet and the bed.
Is she scratching anything other than the sheet and the bed?
No, she's not. It's just the sheet and the bed.
Okay, so what I'm going to do is ask her what's going on with the bed, because to her, it's not so much the sheet, it's more the bed.
Yeah.
And when I asked her, she says, do you know that there's something in there that she doesn't like? There's something that she's hearing something, she's smelling something, and she doesn't like what's in there.
Hearing?
So, yes. I don't know if you live in a place, my brain would say maybe there's bed bugs or something in there, because what she's showing me, it sounds like, could be some kind of critter in there, or though it could also be something like dust mites. So my suggestion would be look for a product that you can actually spray on your bed that is human and animal friendly. I know that there are some out there that might do things like kill dust mites. And try doing that, because when I'm asking her if she's going to actually stop now that she knows that you know what she's doing, she says no, because she thinks you really need to do something about it.
Okay. Yeah, we're extremely clean, and we wash the sheets weekly, and they have a new comforter cover and a down comforter in that. So. Well,
from my understanding, it really doesn't have anything to do about how clean you keep your bed. More dust mites, for instance, just we shed skin when we sleep, and those kinds of things, from my understanding, they're always there, or very often they're in beds. I don't know. I haven't actually ever had my bed checked. I think I don't want to. I might not like what I find inside there.
Yeah.
But she's not liking what's in there.
And she can hear that?
She can. Dogs have amazing hearing.
Okay.
If you want to train her to stop doing that, is talk to Alan and see if he can suggest to you how you might train her to stop, but she tells me she's not going to, so I don't know that the training's going to work.
Well, then for now, I'll keep the door closed.
I don't know. I don't know what the dog is thinking, but I do know that that's a very common behavior. Any compulsive behavior in a dog is common: scratching, licking, chewing, things like that. And the first thing, of course, is you check out your dog with the vet and make sure there's nothing going on, or that there's nothing going on the dog's body that is making your dog do that. But my guess is, Joy, you're probably right. And if not, any kind of behavior that a dog exhibits, just so people know, any kind of behavior, when you feed into that behavior, when you give a dog any kind of attention, talking to him, telling him to stop, any reaction at all reinforces the behavior, because dogs are all about attention. And if you're going to do something, and if they're going to do something and you're going to pay attention to it, then they're going to keep doing it. So the best way to keep a dog from doing something is to give the dog absolutely no attention at all. Ignore the behavior and the dog. And you have to be consistent. There is no fast fix. It takes time to change a dog's behavior.
What if you crated the dog after? Is that giving it attention?
No. That's a great thing to do. I mean, crating a dog is a great thing to do. And not talking and not looking at the dog, just putting them in the crate. People mess up by talking to their dogs. Talking, reacting, staring at, hand gestures, shrugging of shoulders, all these things, you're giving a dog attention. And a dog's got, think about it, a dog is like a kid. He's got nothing but time on his hands. He's not going to give up. If you've given your dog attention in the past for something, it's going to be a long time before he figures it out that, oh, this doesn't work anymore. I'm not going to be able to get attention doing this anymore. So they won't give up for a long time. It's a contest of discipline and will, and dogs need discipline.
I'm screwed because you can't be an Italian. Listen, I'm an Italian. I talk with my hands. I'm loud. I give dirty looks. I mean, you just cut me off.
I told you the story. The Italian guy went over to his house for Super Bowl. He had two dogs begging, and the one dog grabbed the ham off the table and ran away with it. It was so funny. And my dog was there, just laying there watching the whole thing. It was awesome.
Dr. Debbie is here answering your vet medical questions. Dog trainer Alan Cable, dog father Joey Villani, and animal communicator Joy Turner. And today we're going to talk to this guy in New Zealand who's starting problems in the United States. I mean, he lives in New Zealand, but everybody's questioning whether or not cats should be outdoors if they're attacking the birds. This guy in New Zealand wants to get rid of cats altogether.
People don't think out the consequences of what they're doing. And sometimes it's not possible, no matter how smart they are. In New York, they have 8 times the rat population as the human population. They've been trying to eradicate rats for the last 100 years, and they can't do it.
Well, and we can't just do a mass extinction of cats. I mean, let's get all these cats and euthanize. It don't make any sense to me. I mean, we have to start. What we got to do is we got to be responsible for what we're doing. We got to start controlling the population. Cats do reproduce rapidly, but you know what? Let's start now. Let's start spaying and neutering. Let's start being responsible pet owners. And if we can do that, I mean, what we're looking for here is the quick fix. When we're the blame. Well, let's let the human race take on some of this blame here and be responsible for
and
it.
eradicate
And
the
not just
humans.
say, okay, let's.
And
You know what? It
well,
might be a lot easier.
It's all crazy stuff. And the other thing is, isn't it time for birds to wisen up? I mean, gosh, they're the ones who can fly.
Thousands of authors across the country have written books and published them with Page Publishing. If you've written a book, they can help you through the process, cut through the confusion of the publishing world to make it easy for you. If they decide to publish your book, your work ends, theirs begins. From copy editing and proofing to typesetting and book cover art. Plus, get your book printed, distributed, and sold on Amazon, Apple Books, Barnes & Noble, and in bookstores across the country. They even help promote your book. Biography, self-help, mystery, novels, sci-fi, or even a children's book. No matter what genre, Page Publishing can bring your book to life. And don't forget to ask about audiobooks. We do all of this for you. Call today for your free writer's guide packed with tips, tricks, and templates to help you finish what you started.
800-215-6815. 800-215-6815. 800-215-6815. That's 800-215-6815.
Celebrating our connection with our pets. This is Animal Radio. Here are your hosts, Hal Abrams and Judy Francis.
Welcome, my friend. This hour, we're going to talk to the guy who wants to eradicate all the pets from New Zealand. Not all the pets, all the cats from New Zealand. Is he on that job, or does he have a valid case? You've probably seen the news stories here in the United States in your newspaper, how cats are really messing with the ecosystem with birds. Now, of course, I've always said that you should have your cat indoors anyway. They live a longer life. It's safer.
Keep them safer. Keep them out of trouble, and then they won't get a bad rep in the neighborhood.
Also on the way, Joey is going to tell us about anesthesia-free dentistry and groomers doing it, and why you should not go to a groomer that's offering this. That's all.
Thank you, Joey.
We have Lori on the phones. Hi, Lori.
Hello, hi.
Where are you calling from today?
I'm calling from West Reading, Pennsylvania.
Oh, listening on WEEU. Thank you so much.
Right.
What's going on with your animals?
Okay, well, we took in a cat. We have 3 cats. We had 3 cats. One died of diabetes in April. So we took in another cat that was staying in our neighborhood, Big Boy, a male. And one of our females, who's 10 years old, does not get along with Big Boy. And they usually would just growl at each other, and that's it. And he's not a biter. He's very affectionate. He's a love, really. But she does not like him. They don't like each other. Now, we haven't had any major problems because at night we have a huge cage for Big Boy that he used to sleep in. Now we let him loose at night, and the problem that we're having is that the Snickers, the cat, is beginning to sometimes drop poo, which is solid on the carpet, and she has urinated twice now, in the living room and in the bedroom. And the problem, what we're trying to figure out is how can we stop that. I used the Fenaway diffuser when we brought him in about 9 months ago, and we used the remedy solution, that you can get. So we don't know what to do to prevent that because we want to keep our carpet nice and we're getting our carpet clean. What can we do to keep Snickers from being afraid of Big Boy? And yet they will eat together, and when my husband sits on the couch, Big Boy will sit on the floor, and the one cat will be on the couch next to him, and Snickers will be at his shoulder on the armrest of the couch. So what do you do to make her less afraid of him? And we do have him on occasion. Lately, we have had him out of the cage at night, and sometimes you hear a little growling. And then when she gets scared, she will throw up, or just recently she started doing that, though.
Okay.
The female cat.
So, a lot depends on how we manage these situations by what is physically happening with the kitties at the time.
Mm-hmm.
So if we're a lot of times if it's limited to growling, posturing, hissing, we've got a little bit more wiggle room because we may not have a physical altercation going on. If we've actually got fighting, biting,
no, there's no biting. No, there's no biting. It's just the growling, and now though it's the physical that she lets her territory be known by, pooping on the carpet or twice urinating now. And that's what bothers us because of the smell. And he does. Yeah. He's been fixed and neutered. They've all been neutered. They're all fixed. They all have chips. But the other thing is we've changed litter boxes because we feel. But he makes the litter box his own, and there's he goes in all of them. And I think sometimes she's afraid if we have him out of the cage at night that she's afraid to go downstairs for fear that she's going to be bullied by him. He doesn't hurt him, but they just don't like each other. So I don't know how to prevent this because we can't deal with the poop and the urine markings, and that's just happened now.
Right. And before we make the conclusion that she's urinating and defecating because she's urine marking, that may not necessarily be the situation. It could be an aversion to those locations, and you kind of alluded to that. So it isn't always that she's saying, hey, this is my spot. I'm going to urinate and defecate here. She could just be afraid of actually physically crossing the house or going down the stairs or going to where she might encounter him. So the trick can be is sometimes when we have a cat who's an aggressor, they may be actually kind of starting the offensive, and they may be starting the growl or the posturing or making the eye contact to the other cat and intimidating them in that way. So, but in some cases, it's actually the other cat, the one that is actually appearing to be fearful, that can actually trigger the attack.
She does that. She will growl at him. I mean, he can just be like 2 feet away from him, and she will growl at him, and then she'll be under the table. And she will growl, and she will show her aggressiveness. And he wouldn't bother with her, but
Exactly.
It doesn't harm her or do any.
I equate this, where your female cat, the way she's behaving, it's almost like my little sister when we were kids, and she'd stick her tongue out at me across the room. It's nonverbal communication. She's not threatening me in any way, but she's antagonizing me. And so an aggressor cat, when they're faced with some kind of physical, what looks like a fearful response, they may actually be triggered to respond aggressively just because they see that and they think, this is what I'm supposed to do because I know she's going to freak out next.
Right.
So in some kitties, and this gets a little complicated, some of the simple things we can try, definitely the feel away, I like that idea. It's very important to also increase the amount of the kitty resources in the house. And a resource to a cat is food, water bowls, litter pans, nesting or perching sites. Right. And this may be a situation where if we're not going to do physical separation, then we may need to look into some drug therapy here. These are very complicated issues, and anyone who's had a cat with a kind of aggression problems like this, they can attest that the fearful response, the aggressive response they have it's so intense that the effect can last for quite some time. So if a cat has an inner cat altercation and they're aggressive, they may be agitated for days. So physically separating them is very important if we have any hostility going on. And that may be just for a few hours, but it can even be up to 4 or 5 days in some cats because they are just mentally agitated, and then the sight of the other cat just reawakens all those sensations that they're having. So that is a very important thing. So not that putting them in a cage is necessarily the same thing, because that's like my sister across the table just 20 feet away, where she could still stick her tongue out at me and make me mad. So you need to make sure that they're actually physically separated, where they can't see people see themselves directly.
Right, but they don't hurt each other, and he doesn't bite. He's not a biting cat, but she aggravates her because you can hear her growling.
The one thing that I would definitely the direction I would go with things as far as with behaviorally, there's a lot of environmental things we can definitely do, but the direction I would certainly look at is making sure that she has a full health assessment, have her checked out, because she might be the first kitty that I would talk about, using some drug therapy. So for a cat that's really fearful, we might use medications that help to decrease their anxiety, things like alprazolam or Valium, and that might help take her fears down, so help to not have these episodes. That's one way to go. Sometimes we'll medicate the aggressor kitty if that seems more appropriate. So it definitely is going to take some work with your veterinarian. I don't think you're going to be able to fix this completely on your own. And you're doing some things that are really very good. And one is that using food as a positive reward. And that is just a natural thing. Cats love food. So you should really spare that for when you want to put the kitties together, when they're in a calm, non non-agitated state, and that's when the food comes out. And you can even make it a special treat. That's when the canned food comes out, or a special treat that they really like. And as long as they're behaving calmly, quietly, there's no posturing, there's no hissing, then that food makes that a good experience. And then you say, okay, that's enough. Let's separate you guys. We're going to end on a good note. And, that's a good therapy session. So that's the kind of thing you can work with at home. You got a lot of work here. I definitely feel for you, Lori. So let me know how some of those initial things go, and definitely get her checked out, make sure she's okay. And then, we'll see if we need to go to the next step with medicine.
Thank you for your call, Lori. We appreciate it. We have dog father Joey Villani here. He's telling you how to groom your animals, giving you all the tips. And today he's going to be talking about anesthesia-free dentistry. And when I bring this up, Dr. Debbie gets...
I get mad. I really rant on this topic. And I think I have talked about it before. So I'm glad that Joey is on my side with us. And, the first thing that I would medically point out is that the tooth structure of dogs and cats, 40% of it is above the gum line and 60% is below the gum line. So anytime we do things that are cosmetic to just clean the tartar off the teeth without really getting to the nitty-gritty, then we're really not doing the pet any service, and thinking you are by keeping him awake and picking at the teeth. It really doesn't do anything. You've just actually given yourself a false sense of security on that. I've even had a dog almost paralyzed because it was struggling during the cleaning, believe it or not. So,
wow. I remember that one time that I was chipping away at Boog's plaque with my finger. You got very upset at me for that.
Yes. You don't want to just start picking at that tooth. And, they're good cleanings are good to come by your veterinary office, and then you follow up with brushing at home. That's the way we manage home care.
Oh, very good. Okay, well, Joey will be talking about this in just a few minutes. Alan Cable, our dog trainer extraordinaire, is here. And if you have any questions, vexing dog issues, he can help you fix those problems.
I said enough! Hey gang, this is the Money Man, Eddie Money. Make sure you spay to your pets and keep the dial right here to Animal Radio. It's the greatest station in the world.
You're listening to Animal Radio. You can learn more at animalradio.com. Log on. Learn more.
Hi, it's Alan Cable with another dog tip. My dog's talking to his buddy on Skype. Yeah, that poodle next door really is a snob. Hey, wait a minute. I do not smell like a human. Stop telling your friends I have fleas. I know you are, but what am I? Wouldn't it be great if you could talk to your dogs and they could talk back? A lot of people think their dogs do understand their conversation. Dogs can understand some words. There's no doubt about that. But when you have a conversation with them, they have no idea what you're talking about. We talked about how clicker training speeds up everything. There's more than one way to communicate with your dog. Hand signals with the word. If you have a dog and he knows a command, let's say sit, walk up to him right now. Think up a hand signal that you'd like to use for sit. Maybe it's a closed fist. Maybe it's a chopping motion. Whatever you choose. Every time you tell your dog to sit, use that exact hand signal. You'll notice your dog's focused even more than before on what you're doing. Dogs are always watching us, and what they're looking for is signs of leadership. Hand signals are a great way to accomplish that and to communicate with your dog. They'll also speed up the process of you teaching your dog new things. When you tell your dog he's being good, have a hand signal to go along with it. Have a hand signal for the word treat. If you take time out and watch your dog, you're going to notice your dog spends a lot of time watching you, much more than you do watching him. Eventually, you can communicate with your dog without talking at all, and you'll be amazed how fast he learns new things when you use a hand signal as well as a word for what he's already doing. Yes, we all know you were the first puppy in the litter to be housebroken. I can't repeat that. I've got hand signals for stop, down, stay, sit, get behind me, heel, watch me or pay attention, treat, and good dog. My dog hates that hand signal. It's the one I used to tell him we're watching The Bachelor. Oh, you're a good dog. No, Dr. Debbie's not going to give you a shot. Get more tips at animalradio.com.
Do you hear that? That's the sound of uncertainty lurking under your hood. You know the feeling. I know I do. That sudden sinking sensation when you see a check engine light or your car unexpectedly breaks down and you're faced with sky-high repair bills. It's time to shield against unexpected repairs with CarShield. CarShield is America's most trusted auto protection company and has an A rating with the Better Business Bureau. Don't let the fear of a breakdown keep you up at night. Trust the Shield, CarShield, and say goodbye to terrifying repair bills and hello to peace of mind. Your plan also comes with 24/7 roadside assistance, courtesy towing, rental car options, and so much more. Don't wait till it's too late. Call CarShield now before a breakdown. Protect your wallet. Protect your car with CarShield. Get our best protection ever. Call now. You'll thank me later. 800-987-0618. 800-987-0618. That's 800-987-0618.
You're listening to Animal Radio. Here's Hal and Judy.
Let's go to Neil. Hey, Neil, how are you doing?
Not bad. How you doing?
Good. What's up?
Okay, I've got a 3-year-old female Doberman Pinscher, and when she was 2 years old, we had her fixed. And ever since she got fixed, or ever since we got her fixed, she has had trouble holding her urine.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever she lays down and goes to sleep, when she gets into a deep sleep, she just leaks all over her bed, and you can tell that in her face. She knows, hey, I done something bad, and oh God, and you know the deal.
She's embarrassed.
It's like it's like catching a little kid that just wet the bed and don't want to tell you about it. She feels so guilty, but of course you can't scold her because it's an accident.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Okay.
So I took her back to the vet. She goes to the vet all the time, and the doctor, our veterinarian, has give us this medication that's very expensive, and I can't remember the name of it, but they're supposed to give her the pill in the morning when she eats and a pill around noon, and of course we don't give her a lot of water, okay? Now, whenever she goes outside, whenever she needs to go outside, she'll smack the cowbell. We'll take her outside, and her urine is very dark, and you can smell it.
Okay, all righty. So is she still on this medicine, and is it helping her?
Well, yes and no. It is helping her not wet the bed. I mean, it's like we're spending a lot of money masking a problem.
Okay, well, a couple things from what you're saying. Now, the first thing that we'll just want to go over is that the female dogs can definitely develop some incontinence issues, and it basically is most common when we hear stories of dogs that are sleeping or they're coming from a lying position and they get up and then you find a puddle of urine. So for that, in a female dog, yes, most often they are spayed. So for some dogs, it can actually be related to an estrogen deficiency. In other dogs, it's just a matter of the urethral sphincter, and it's just not working well. So there are some great options to help pets that have this. Now, if you're looking for a fix for it, you got it, and it's probably going to be a pill. As far as there are some more, I don't want to say invasive, but some more corrective things, but they're usually involving putting collagen in the bladder and injections, and it's really not something we recommend for the average pet. For most dogs that have this, they can be well controlled with medications. Now, I'm not sure which one your pet is on, but there is a couple different ones we can choose from. One is called phenylpropylamine, also known as PPA, and it's usually given 2 to 3 times a day, and it helps to improve the tone in the urinary sphincter. And for a lot of dogs, that may be all they need to control their symptoms. For other dogs, that may not do enough, and we may go into more of an estrogen compound, and those may be given typically only maybe once or twice a week, because there's definitely good and bad with all these medicines. I can tell you, my own female dog, 13-and-a-half-year-old gal, she has urinary incontinence, and she's had it since an early age.
Did it just happen overnight?
It can, yeah, it definitely can. The big question is, and granted, I don't know all the details of your pet's health, but when we do diagnose this type of problem, we want to make sure we're not missing something else, because there's a lot of other reasons that can cause a dog to produce a lot of urine and not be able to hold it. And I've actually found a high amount of dogs that start doing this kind of urine leakage. We may treat them with a urinary incontinence medicine, but we're not really maybe always catching the real problem. And I found that some dogs are actually developing they have a kidney problem, a liver problem, or some other disorder, and it just makes them drink more, and they can't hold their urine. So if we just treat for trying to make them hold their urine, we're not really getting to the heart of things. So if your vet hasn't done a full blood panel, I would recommend that. The other thing, and it kind of concerns me when you say your dog's urine is dark and that you're restricting urine. We should never restrict water for a dog that has an excessive thirst. There could be a lot of negatives with that. So now I'm not opposed to maybe before bedtime.
But we have to really watch the toilet seat.
Yeah,
sure. In there and get a drink out of the toilet.
Yeah,
I mean
anything that's available.
But I mean, it's water. You know, I mean.
Yeah.
But
so
I
for
feel
me,
so bad because her tongue is actually dry.
Okay, well, you need to get this baby checked out.
Go to your vet.
I'm going to give you a prescription for getting a blood panel pulled on her, and I would definitely get a urine sample. And the reason is that a lot of dogs on urinary continence medicines can actually develop retention urinary tract infections. So we've kind of messed with their ability to hold their urine, and that sometimes can allow bacteria to flourish in the bladder longer.
I guess what's bothering me more is, okay, the veterinarian will only give me 2 weeks worth of pills for her, and she's charging me an office visit every 2 weeks.
Wow.
And this is really starting to add up.
Oh, sure.
That doesn't sound cool, does it, Doctor?
I mean, she's an awesome dog. She's got a very important job. Her job is to babysit my daughter. My daughter is a 26-year-old woman physically, but mentally she's about 5 years old. And if any jackass ever came to the door and said, "Hey, Dad told me to take you bowling," well, she'd grab her bowling ball and shoes and be gone with some stranger.
Wow.
Okay?
Oh.
So her job is to sound like I'm going to eat you if you open this door.
Well, hey, Neil, this is what my advice, and this isn't maybe coming from a veterinarian, but you know, if you're having trouble communicating with your veterinarian, trying to find a solution, and you feel like you're not getting anywhere, have a heart-to-heart. This is where, you know, you're trying to find a solution, get her on a medicine, and hopefully check her out and make sure she's okay. So if you don't feel like you're getting what you need, sometimes, you know, getting a second opinion is always well worth it. You know, hopefully your vet's just kind of being extra vigilant and looking out for her health. But, you know, we need a little bit more, I guess, explanation on what their intents are there.
We've done that. We've shopped for new vets. It's not something, you know, if you're unhappy with your vet, find a vet that you're happy with. We appreciate your call, Neil. Good luck with that.
You're listening to Animal Radio. Call the Dream Team now with the free Animal Radio app for iPhone and Android.
Fido Friendly Magazine presents the 17th annual Cross Country Pet Adoption Tour. Get your licks on Route 66. Along with media sponsor Animal Radio and companion sponsor Zymox, the tour travels down America's favorite highway from LA to Chicago, stopping at shelters along the way to support adoption events and to raise money for the shelters. With the help of cat food sponsor Cat-It, community sponsor Tito's Vodka for Dog People, campground sponsor KOA, grooming sponsor Hands On Gloves, and car wrap sponsor Signs to You. Fido Friendly Magazine brings their giant spinning wheel where attendees can donate money to spin and win Fido fabulous prizes. All proceeds benefiting the shelter of the day. In the first 16 years, the tour has helped to place over 20,000 pets into new forever homes. Log on to FidoFriendly.com to see where the tour stops near you and come out for a safe, fun way to support your local shelter. And who knows, you might just find your new forever friend.
You're listening to Animal Radio. Here's Hal and Judy.
Boy, can't go far picking up a newspaper and finding out that there's a lot of controversy going on with birds and cats this week. And not only in NBC Nightly News reported just this last week that 3.6 billion birds per year are killed by cats, outdoor cats. And about 2 weeks ago, I picked up an article in the, where is this?
That's in the Tribune.
This was in the Tribune, the local paper. Okay. There's a gentleman, Dr. Gareth Morgan. It's a pretty simple dream. He wants a New Zealand free of cats that threaten the native birds. And we welcome him to the show. Doctor, how are you doing today?
I'm fine, thanks. Nice to be here.
Now tell us, New Zealand is one of the most populated cat countries in the world. It has like one of the highest amount of cats in the world. Is that correct?
Yeah. Yes, it is. It's the highest. 48% of our households have one or more cats.
Wow, that's pretty high.
And many of them are outdoor cats. and I guess there's a bird problem. Tell us, give me the backstory here.
Well, New Zealand's native fauna is predominantly walking birds. We do have flying birds, and we have lots of, lizards, geckos, skinks, that sort of thing. New Zealand originally had no predators, whatever. And now we have a lot of predators that have been introduced by the settlers, 100 years ago, 150 now. And those predator numbers have just increased and increased. So stoats, ferrets, cats, as we talked about, and so on. So, in New Zealand, the environment's a big issue here, and, increasingly being valued, particularly when you look around overseas, and I've just come back from China, where the environment there is just terrible. They basically ruined their environment. The air, you can hardly breathe. The forest is all decimated. As for native animals, well, they've all been eaten, and so on. So the contrast between New Zealand's, what I call natural capital, and the natural capital in these heavily populated areas around the rest of the world is getting bigger and bigger. So my argument is, hey, we've got an amazing asset here. We need to enhance it, not to be going the same way as, say, China has.
Sure. So you want to eradicate all of the cats. Now, does that mean euthanizing cats that are alive now?
Okay, so I guess you can sum it up in a couple of slogans. Every cat a wanted cat would be one, or a confined cat is a pet, otherwise they're a pest. So what I'm targeting here is cats that are allowed to wander and hunt, because they're our problem, really. And those cats are both feral cats that, are just out in the wild these days, stray cats that hang around rubbish tins, that sort of thing, but also domestic cats, to the extent that they wander off their property and hunt on yours or my property. So I'm trying to stop all those activities. So the cats that aren't owned, the argument here is they should be cage-trapped and humanely euthanized by the local pound. They do this with dogs, so I'm just asking for the same with cats, because cats are causing so much damage. And with respect to owned cats, domestic cats, and my family has a cat, so let's just get this right, that if they get caught wandering, then because they're microchipped, they are returned to the owner, and if the local authority wants to fine the owner for the cost of recovery, well, that's up to the local authority. So that's really the bottom line. All cats should be contained.
The ecosystem is so delicate everywhere, but if you get rid of all the cats, doesn't that lead to perhaps a rodent problem and plague? And
yeah. Well, remember, now let's just go back. I'm not saying get rid of all the cats. I'm saying get rid of the wandering cats. So what people, it's the good old self-interest comes to the fore very quickly. What people are thinking of are the rats and the mice getting into their and around their home. Well, their domestic cat can look after those. That's not an issue. In terms of the rodents out in the public areas, we have already in place lots of techniques to get rid of those. We have poisoning. We have, there's an invention called the mousetrap that some people might have heard of. So there's actually, a lot of ways to do that. So we're not reliant on cats to be doing the governing of those species.
We just got an email here, and I'll paraphrase on this. Humans have destroyed more and have done more damage to ecosystems than cats alone. Do we get rid of the humans? And that just came in from Lisa.
Yes. I hear this a lot, and this is an argument, trying to distract from the point, trying to move us away from the point we're talking about. I mean, I've written books on climate change. I've written books on on the decimation of the wild fisheries around the world. So this issue about cats is not to the exclusion of any other efforts to enhance our environment and to curb the damage by human beings. But this particular issue is due to human beings. New Zealand does not have any cats naturally. They've all been introduced. And when you say to me, we're interfering with nature, there is nothing natural about breeding cats.
We're going to take a quick break. We'll be back with Dr. Gareth Morgan, a New Zealand resident who wants to eradicate New Zealand of cats, right here on Animal Radio. Stick around.
This is an Animal Radio News Update.
I'm Stacey Cohen for Animal Radio. Turns out there's a lot more inside a popular dog treat than most pet owners probably imagine. They're called pizzle sticks or bully sticks. You've probably seen them. A new study out says they're loaded with calories and bacteria. The treat's made from uncooked, dried bull penis. You know, they make a lot of things out of bull penis. The testicles they make beer out of. Researchers say they contain things like E. coli and MRSA. Add to that, they've got enough calories to make up as much as 30% of your dog's recommended intake for the day. The study published in the Canadian Veterinary Journal concludes pet owners should consider such treats raw meat and always wash your hands after you handle them. I'm Stacey Cohen. Get more animal breaking news at animalradio.com.
This has been an Animal Radio News Update. Get more at animalradio.com.
It's Animal Radio, you lucky dog. Welcome back. On the phone with us, Dr. Gareth Morgan, a New Zealand doctor. And as you've heard, he wants to eradicate the continent from cats. And I know there's some pissed off cats in the studio. I guess you're coming up against some controversy at your home. Yeah. Well, I would imagine. I'm just guessing.
Yeah,
I know that at your website, there's you're doing a poll, and 72% of the respondents are voting no.
Yeah.
So, what kind of adversity are you having right now?
Well, it ranges from the rational to the nutcases, but that's a cross-section of any population. If you take any issue and take a slice through your population, you get those that agree with you. You'll get those who disagree with you but are rational in the discussion and are having a lot of interchange with them, a bit like we're having here. It's fine. And then you get the nutcases. Every sector has its nutcases. And the way I've described this is that it's a bit like taking on the gun lobby in the U.S.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
For sure.
Yeah.
I'm thinking that there's a happy medium, and that really is to keep your cats inside. I don't know that we need to get rid of the cats, but just keeping them inside, as they should be anyway. They're much safer and they'll live a longer life if they're inside. Do you not agree?
I agree with that absolutely 100%. However, I wouldn't be as strict as that. I would say that you could keep your cats within your section by using netting and that to stop them escaping from your section. So, but in principle, what you're talking about, and there's research done on that too, that a cat that's actually a kitten that's born and kept inside its whole life actually hates going outside. Now, I just had a debate in the UK on radio with the UK's greatest cat lover, most well-known cat lover. That was a lot of fun. And he said in that debate that I would feel really bad about confining a cat indoors. It doesn't seem natural. And my response to that was, but that's your perspective. That's not necessarily the cat's perspective. And we know that cats that are bred and, grow up indoors hate going outside.
Well, I can argue that one. I have one that's been inside all his life, and the minute that door's open, he's the first to try to sneak out, and he gets out between your legs faster than anything. And I grab and bring him. We have these great things called catteries. It's an outdoor enclosure that's totally enclosed where the cat's able to sit outside, smell the fresh air, get the sun, watch butterflies and stuff, all safely confined in their own little environment.
The sad part of all this is we have created this, meaning the human race. I mean, this is another situation that we have created with the overpopulation of pets and then letting them go when we don't want them. It's a sad situation.
Okay, is there a website where we can learn more? What is your website?
The website is Cats to Go. One word. Cats. T-O, go.
Okay, and we'll put links to everything you've heard on today's show over at animalradio.com. Dr. Gareth Morgan, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. Nice to talk to you.
Such complicated issues, though.
Well, he's got valid points, but it's a little too much over the top. Yeah,
he does. He has valid points.
Go ahead.
He does have valid points, but every time man tries to solve a problem, they always talk about climate change, and I always wonder, well, what caused climate change before we got here? The climate has constantly changed. Over the thousands and thousands of years that this, billions of years this planet's been here, the climate has constantly changed. So by trying to change it for the better, we might be doing harm. You just don't know. That's the problem.
They don't know the consequences of their actions.
They don't know the consequences. These people don't think out the consequences of what they're doing.
You're listening to Animal Radio. Call the Dream Team now with the free Animal Radio app for iPhone and Android.
Hi, this is Eric Dane on Animal Radio, reminding you to spay and neuter your pets.
You know, I never really understood the value of having a good credit score until I started to make a few purchases recently. Then it hit me like a ton of bricks. Because my credit score was in the 600s. I was borderline getting denied on my new apartment. And guess what? My new car payment is about 30% more. Having bad credit can even affect your credit card rates. Having a good credit score is important to your financial future, and you can save a lot of money. Call the Credit Pros right now. In a free phone call, we can tell you exactly how to improve your credit score. Plus, learn about our 60-day satisfaction guarantee. If you're not happy after 60 days, we'll give you 2 months free. Make this free call right now for a free consultation and free credit review. 800-292-6156. 800-292-6156. 800-292-6156. That's 800-292-6156.
Portions of today's show are a repeat from an earlier broadcast.
You're listening to Animal Radio. Call the Dream Team now with the free Animal Radio app for iPhone and Android.
Ladies and gentlemen, Joey Villani. Joey, I see your new line of products are out.
It's good. It's really good. It's an odor remover for the dog, for the cat, for the carpet, if it stinks, it'll remove it.
Oh, that's very cool. I see the picture of you on the front of the bottle.
Yeah, I know. And that stinks, but it didn't remove that. You know what's funny? And Judy, what's funny is I shared this with Hal.
Uh-huh.
About a couple weeks ago, I put up on Facebook, I asked the grooming world, I said, what do you want me to talk about on Animal Radio? And I always like to stir up a little crap, to be honest with you.
I saw that on Facebook.
Yeah, I did too.
It started going around. You know, it was a lot of stupid things, a lot of professional stuff, groomers ragging about the clients and that sort of thing. And then they started fighting about things, but one of the bigger things that came up, and I decided, you know what, this is what I'm going to talk about, was dentistry. A lot of groomers now are offering dentistry, okay, which is, actually, I should say, anesthesia-free dentistry. And there's two ways that they're offering it. One is an enzymatic cleaner, which is like some of the sponsors we've had in the past, where it's, you know, gels and sprays and additives that you'll put in their food and water, and over time it'll remove the plaque. And what groomers are doing is they're starting it in their salons, and then they're actually giving the portion, which is you basically bought it. It's part of the grooming. And then you have to go home and you have to treat your pets, and it removes the plaque and the tartar. Sure. And if you do it correctly and you stay on top of it, it's they work really, really well, and they're pretty safe to use, but you're not going to get the professional dentistry look that you will if you go to your veterinarian. But it's good when you have dogs that basically can't be put out, or the people just don't have the money to do it. But then you also have groomers that are offering anesthesia-free dentistry. They're scaling the teeth. And the problem with this is it's very unfortunate that the grooming industry isn't licensed, because if it were, you'd eliminate a lot of these problems. When you go in and you scale a dog that has tremendous tartar and you scale their teeth, a few things happen. Number one, dogs don't like it. That's number one. So they're not going to let you do it very easily. So the whole process is a negative process on the pet itself. It just leaves it a scar in their mind that any time they see someone go at their teeth, that this is going to happen again, because they have to be forced and held down, and then their teeth are scraped, and it's not very pleasant for the dog. The other thing is, you don't know how these tools were disinfected and clean. A veterinarian is going to put those tools in autoclave. They're going to be sealed. They're going to be opened up before the procedure happens. The dog is going to be sedated. It's going to be I'm not going to say very easy, because I don't know the process, but it's definitely a lot easier than a dog that's awake. You could do it to a stuffed animal. I mean, how do you think Hal got most of his dates when he was younger? He could sedate the woman. Yep. And, it was very
Still
easy.
does.
Right, Hal? But anyway, what this does, though, when they do the process of it, now, you scrape all that tartar off the teeth, and what it does to the tooth itself is it opens up the tooth enamel. So it's like having open pores. So even though the teeth probably look good, what happens is now everything that they eat and drink gets sucked right in like a sponge. So in time, and a short amount of time, all of a sudden you have this buildup that came back rapidly, and a lot worse than it was before because it got sucked right into the tooth. So it made it worse. The other thing is, and I don't know about every state because I haven't looked into it, but every state that I know of, it's against the law for your groomer to do this. So your groomer should not be scaling your dog's teeth for profit. If they do it on their own pet at home, you know what, that's fine. But teeth need to be scaled and then polished. Like you would if you go to your dentist, they polish your teeth afterwards. Well, you can't do that when you're scaling a dog that's awake. And you probably don't have the equipment to do it anyway. So again, you have an open sponge that sucks everything in. So if you're looking at having your groomer do your dog's teeth, okay, or treating it, go for the enzymatic process. It's going to take a little bit longer. It might not remove everything, but you know what? It's going to be a hell of a lot better. And then as you do it, it gets softer. You can almost chip it away with your fingernail or even your toothbrush. You can go in there if your dog lets you go in there and do it. And also they make them for cats as well, but I wouldn't recommend putting my fingers in my cat's mouth in most cases.
Another problem is when they do it is it releases all that bacteria, and that goes in your dog's system. You know, some dogs need to be on medicine, antibiotics or stuff after a teeth cleaning. You can't just release that into their body.
Well, that's with the scraping. That's not with the enzyme. Yeah.
No, that's with the scraping.
Exactly. With the scraping. And you're right. You're 100% right. See, a lot of people, and I know this is supposed to be a grooming tip, but this is the tip that this is more of a caution for your groomers not to be doing this. So if your groomer wants to scale your dog's teeth, you know what? Just say, no, thank you. I'll have my veterinarian do it, or you're going in another direction. But I would stay away from it completely. And you're going to say, because people are going to have it done, they're going to say, well, Joey Villani was wrong. My dog's teeth look great. Wait for a month later and then tell me. And then you're going to say, wow, he was right.
You know what's a good idea is to get their teeth done at the veterinarian and then follow it up with the enzymes every month after that. Because the enzymes won't get rid of all that plaque that's been there.
You're right, Al. And you know what? And that works great. It does. Because, matter of fact, I had my dog's teeth done not too long ago. And that's what we do. We follow up with the enzymatic cleaner. Their teeth look great. Their breath smells good. And you know what? The more people, because a lot of people don't know about the enzymatic cleaners yet. And it's real easy, especially the sprays. You get 2 sprays in their mouth and that's it.
That's what I do, though. Every morning, a little spritz of the old Pet's Life in my mouth.
You do that? You do that to yourself, huh?
Yeah.
Look at his teeth.
There you go. They look pretty good.
Well, that's all we have time for today. I encourage you to check out the Animal Radio app for iPhone or Android. You can ask us your questions all week long, or listen to the show, or browse our resources, or visit us over at animalradio.com. or on our Facebook page at Animal Radio, or even tweet us.
Bye-bye. Bye.
I love you guys.
This is Animal Radio
Network.